So today I am going to make a short video on how to change the automatic transmission fluid on a 2015 through 17 Cadillac Escalade. This goes for the GMC Denali brands and anything that GM made with the 8-speed automatic transmission box. All right, so the tools you're gonna need, first need to buy about, better be more than sorry, 8 quarts of Mobil 1 Synthetic LV ATF HP. This is the OEM fluid that the GM 8-speed automatic transmissions take. So you need to purchase this particular Mobil 1. I would say get 8 to 9 quarts of it. You're probably gonna only need to use about 7. Just get 1 extra just to be safe, because actually the whole system I believe has 14 quarts. But since we're doing a pan drop and we're not actually flushing the system, we're only gonna take out 8. You're gonna have a little bit remaining in there. To be honest with you, I have no idea how you would actually flush the system, because these newer vehicles, the 15 and up, they actually have a thermal bypass system. So it actually only opens the transmission fluid if it gets to a certain temperature. So unless you have some kind of OBD2 reader or some kind of GM tech tool to open that up manually, and then you can flush it out, that's the only way I know it could do it. But I know from the 07 to 14 Escalades, Tahoes, Yukons, you could just definitely open the key, turn the key on, and the pump will cycle the transmission fluid through. It's totally different animal in this car. You know, I have the particular manuals, and they doesn't state anything about it, so I'm not quite sure how dealers, when they tell you they're gonna flush these cars, how they flush these cars, but I'm sure there's a way to do it, but I'm just doing a simple pan drop. All right, so you're gonna need this. You're gonna need a fluid evacuator, and you're gonna need a fluid refill system. Okay, so these are the tools you're gonna need. Besides some simple hex tools and maybe an impact driver, that's all you're gonna need. So let's get down to business. First thing you wanna do before you do anything to the car, you're gonna open your trunk. Okay? You're gonna put the seats down. You're gonna go into your trunk and you're gonna grab your jack. And this will be a very, very important step later on in the process, and I will show you why. Okay, so let's get this car jacked up. So I'm using a Ranger Quick Jack. If you haven't seen one of these before, they're a great product. I highly suggest grabbing one. And just make sure you're on the lift points and go ahead and just start jacking up. That looks good. Okay, so your Cadillac Escalade is lifted. Like I said, this is not an absolutely necessary step, but I do it just because it's easier to work, and also it's going to be easier for me to make the video. Okay, so now that we have the vehicle on the jack, we're going to proceed to extracting the automatic transmission fluid out. You could theoretically just drop the pan without using an extractor, but I guarantee you're going to dump ATF fluid all over your body unless you have a big pan to catch it. So I use an extractor first. There's actually an extraction port. I'm going to show you how to get to it. So let's first crawl into the car, bring a hex tool with me. So you can see what I'm seeing. Okay, so this is what I'm looking at here is a transmission pan. This whole piece right here, okay? So we are gonna get a hex tool. I believe it's a 10 millimeter. Let's grab a 10 millimeter nut and loosen this transmission pan shield. Loosen it. Okay. Remove this nut. Place it somewhere. And then let me make sure I hope you guys can see this, because this angle is just so hard to see. Okay, so I need to point the camera down. There we go. Okay, so this is a better angle. I just want to make sure, because this is hard for people to see. Okay, so I removed the screw holding the shield, and over here there's this drain ATF fluid removal port. I'm trying to look for my orange tool that I was showing you guys earlier. So if you remove the exhaust shield or push it to the side, you're going to see this little black rubber grommet, and you're gonna use your tool like this. You're gonna use this tool to pick it out. So grab it and pick it up. Here, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is the little piece that you're gonna need out. Okay, so this is the I guess this is the little plug for the extractor, so you can extract ATF fluid out. And this is also the same area where you fill ATF fluid into. Okay, so let's put this to the side, and then reach your hand over. You can see the extractors over there. Reach your hand over and grab the extractor tube and fish it into that little hole. Ouch, it's hot. Be careful with the hot exhaust. Ouch, that hurt. Stick it in there. Okay, you're good. Let's crawl out of the truck. Now what you need to do is just start extracting. Start extracting fluid out of here. Okay, so evacuate is down. So you're gonna for this car, around 7 quarts from my memory will come out. What I'd usually do is I'm actually gonna let this drain overnight, because there's a lot, the moment you start the car, a lot of that fluid goes up into the gears. So you need to let it drain for a long, long time. So if you wait overnight, probably another quart's gonna come out. So I'm going to come back the next morning and continue this video. Yeah, it was right here. So I hope you guys can see exactly where I'm placing this jack. The problem is this GoPro needs to be angled better, and it's difficult to capture this on camera. So basically, if I'm laying down underneath the car, and my feet are facing towards the hood of the car and my head is facing towards the trunk of the car, you're going to take this jack and you're going to look at this transmission pan. Let me see if you can see what I'm seeing. And take the jack and look at the transmission pan, and you are going to use your left hand and place the jack, or the left side of your body. You're going to place the jack up and right here. Okay, I'm sure the camera's capturing that, so y'all can see where I'm placing the jack. And that's going to allow you to, it's going to allow you to jack up and push this exhaust line down so you can drop the pan out and remove it. So let's go ahead and start jacking up. And you don't need any tools, you're gonna use your hands. Just jack up. And you just need jack. I think generally you don't need to jack that much, because let's see here. That should be enough. I think that's enough to get already drop the pan out. Yeah, I think that's enough. And if it's not enough, you just go ahead and use your hand and jack up more, but it doesn't take much. So, you're 10. Remove all the screws, all the 10mm screws, so you can drop the pan. Okay guys, and this is where the pan comes out. Get away, get ATF fluid. Some places. Get it all over me. Like I said guys, it comes out Wiggle it out a little bit. There we go. It's out. Okay. Here's the pan. It is dropped. And so I wish I could make sure that you guys get a shot of this, but basically, let me make sure my phone's close by so I can check my angling. Okay. So now that the pan's dropped, you can actually see this is my extractor line. So that was the extraction port. And here's the filter. And the filter is a simple remove. You just pull it straight down. I just got ATF fluid all in my mouth. So, lesson learned. Don't, for the purpose of this video, I'm really trying to get y'all shots, but usually I stay much further away than this. Oh, this stuff is bad. I think I'm gonna have to pause and take a shower. Wow, this is bad. Anyway, so oh my goodness, stuff doesn't taste good. Just be aware, it's gonna make a mess. This is part of changing automatic transmission fluid. What I do is I use the extractor. So you can see exactly almost 7 quarts came out. I mean 7 liters, 7 liters. Almost 7 liters exactly came out. And if you account for the stuff I spilled under the car and then some residual left over in that filter, about every time I do this, 7 liters comes out of the 2015 Escalade. So let's go ahead and clean the pan. Just a pretty simple task. That's really strange. You can see all the metal shavings. See how the napkin turned brown? You can see the metal shavings within the pan. I'm gonna remove the magnets, clean the magnets off. Cleaned up, magnets back in place. For the gasket, you're going to need GM part number 24260071 is the part number for the 8-speed automatic transmission pan gasket. And for the filter, it doesn't, I have to look it up. I'll put it in the comment section for the GM part number for the filter. And so, yeah, I'll get you that later. These filters, for the 8-speed, I know for the old Escalade, for the 07 to the 14, the gasket, I believe you have to put it on and it comes separately, but this one already has a gasket on it, so basically just pop it into the car. I'll do that right now. Okay, so see, goes like this in. You see there's nothing in there, there's no gasket, nothing. This rubber thing is already there, so you just pop it straight in. That's it, you push in there, voila. It's in there. I believe, well, I think you have to line, yeah, this thing lines up there. There we go. Perfect. It sticks in like that. I'm gonna grab some of your ATF fluid. I like to do this. There we go. Just make sure it's perfectly aligned. And you're supposed to go in a zigzag fashion, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But I don't really do that. I don't really follow the rule, and I haven't had a leak. So I just kind of, I don't go in the exact order that the manual says, but I still go in a zigzag order. With this, I don't tighten it down all the way. I'll go back and use a torque wrench and get them down, tightened to the proper torque settings. But let me just get this on so I don't have to hold it with another hand. There we go. All right, cool. So let's go on that zigzag pattern. Okay, for this it's 10 Newton meters. For each bolt on the drain. On the transmission pan bolts, it's exactly 10 Newton meters. So let's get this setting here to 10. Okay. Okay, so now we need to fill what we took out, replace the fluid. So I said 7 came out, so let's go ahead and just, I actually happen to have exactly 7 here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so here's 8. But this one's, I had to open it previously and use a little bit of it, so I guess we'll do a little bit less. Well, no, what the heck, let's just put a little bit more because we're gonna do the fluid check procedure. And some will come back out. All right, just drop the 7 in. Pretty simple. Transmission pan fluid check procedure, and in that procedure you actually remove the drain. There's this check plug and there's an overfill system. You're gonna get the car to a certain temperature. I'll teach you guys how to roll it through the gears, and you're gonna let some of the transmission fluid back out, and then once it kind of reaches the top of that overflow inside the transmission pan, you're gonna start getting a dribble. Once the fluid starts dribbling, your transmission fluid is at the exact level that it needs to be at. So it's a really simple procedure. You don't need to worry about overfilling it at first because you're just going to check it and it's going to be correct later. So it's easier to, in my opinion, it's easier to overfill it first, do the procedure to check it. You know, obviously something's going to come out and then be at the right level, than to have it underfilled, do the procedure to check it, and then have to go back, get under the car, put this apparatus back in the fill drain, fill extractor plug, and then add more. It's just rather just put a little bit extra in there. It's not a big deal.
Stick it into the same hole that you used to extract the fluid out of. All right. Go.
Check it out, guys. And I have a little valve over here that I just turn on, and it'll go ahead and allow the fluid to go in. So on, and it's just gonna fill. So now that you've gotten the fluid changed out, the filter changed, the pan put back in, it's time to lower the vehicle, and we need to do the fluid fill check procedure. That you've gotten the transmission fluid replaced, the filter replaced, everything's put back together, you need to take your car off the lift, and now it's time to do the automatic transmission fluid check procedure. So for these newer vehicles, 2015 and up, GM at large SUVs, even my Camaro SS, the CTSVs, ATSVs, they do not have a transmission dipstick to check the level. It's actually a better design. I don't like the dipstick. The way this does it is that it uses an overfill port, it's called an overflow port within the transmission pan. And basically you get the car up to temperature. For this car, it's between 95 degrees Fahrenheit and 115 degrees Fahrenheit. And once it gets to that temperature, you're gonna roll through the gears, park, neutral, forward, reverse, park, forward, neutral, forward, reverse, roll through it slowly. And that's gonna allow you to get all the fluid through the gears and make sure that the temperature is uniform throughout. Once the temperature is between that range, you are going to go into the car, you're gonna remove the drain port, and you're gonna let the excessive fluid, while the car is running, drain out. And you're gonna let it drain until it comes to a little dribble. Once it starts dribbling, then you just stop, you put the plug back in, and you're good to go. You're done. The fluid will be at the exact level that it needs to be at. So the hard part is getting the car up to temperature. That's actually the tricky part. In the summer, in Texas, it's really easy, but in the winter, I'm gonna have to drive it. I'm gonna have to actually drive it for a bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and hop in the car and start getting this up to temperature. And you can see in your vehicle that you have a TFT screen, transmission fluid temperature screen, and it's at 61, right? And so basically you're going to drive the vehicle around until you get that between 95 degrees Fahrenheit and 115. So I'm going to go ahead and drive. You don't want to go over, you don't want to be under. So it has to be between that particular range. It's very, very, very specific. Okay, so basically it's just gonna be me driving around. All right, so I let the car sit for a little bit. Let me check the temperature again. Let me say, I forgot to mention, it has to be between 95 and 113. I think I said 115. So 95 to 113, that's your temperature range. So you want to go to park, reverse, neutral, drive, manual, drive, neutral, park, reverse. Reverse park. Sorry. So I'm at 108. It's good to go. Let me go under the car and check the fluid. Make sure you leave the car running. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this on camera. It's kind of dark down there. And really, I don't have much room to get underneath the vehicle right now because it's not on the stand. But I'll do my best. So you guys be very careful when you come under here. The exhaust is very hot. Get a 10mm hex, unbolt the drain bolt. This flashlight. There you guys. Oh man. Alright, so I'm gonna undrain it, bolt it, and it's gonna start to flow out. Oh, well, nothing's coming out, so I might have to add a little bit of more ATF fluid. So basically that's the basic procedure. So in this case it looks like I underfilled it a little bit, but that's okay. I'll go ahead and add more ATF fluid.